And good afternoon, race fans. Welcome here to race number 4 of the NNSCRA Icebreakers Online Series. This is a redo of Atlanta last week due to the fact that we had to go to a high-grip record server. But just want to let you know, Richard Johnson actually won that event last week, and he will be credited with a victory. But we're here at Atlanta for our official Atlanta race with Dylan Poteet on the pole. Brandon Schmidt lines up in second. Ian Dutta third with Richard Johnson fourth. Trek Togger will be fifth with Austin Ogo there in row 3. I think we had some trouble here on the start, perhaps. Joshua Collard's going to come up here to row 4 with Joey Murphy. Seth Cole with Dylan Young in row 5. Zach Buchanan and Corey Williams in row 6. Luis Hernandez back here with Stephen Pollard III. And Charles Jackson, who, I don't know if he jumped the start or what. I believe he had trouble getting going on the start of this race. Poteet is going to have the top position for now. Ian Dutta moves into second place by passing Brandon Schmidt. Schmidt was our winner last time out at Las Vegas. Trying to go 2 in a row here as he'll tuck right in between Ian Dutta and Richard Johnson, and he'll keep himself in the third position. A lot of hard racing back here. Austin Ogo, Richard Johnson, Joey Murphy right behind him. That's for 4th, 5th, and 6th place. Corey Williams right behind there too. Good battle going on even further back. Zach Buchanan, Trek Togger, and Joshua Collard all battling for a spot inside the top 10. There is Dylan Young side by side with Charles Jackson. Both these drivers making their debuts here today. Same for Ian Dutta. Luis Hernandez, Stephen Pollard III bringing up the rear as they're single file amongst the top 4 right now. Poteet, Dutta, Brandon Schmidt, and Richard Johnson, and they're getting really racy behind them there. Double wide, I think that was for 7th place between Corey Williams and I believe the other car was Dylan Young. And Dylan Poteet going to lead yet again. Poteet's the points leader coming into this race, so this is a good run for him as he's still trying to look for his first victory of the season. First battle for the lead would take place here on lap 6 of 82 as Brandon Schmidt is going to move up, then cross over and take the inside line on Dylan Poteet coming out of 2. Poteet would battle back really hard on the high side, but Schmidt would finally clear him, and Brandon Schmidt would become the second leader of the day here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Richard Johnson moving by into second. Third place, Austin Ogo, and Ian Dutta. Strong move there as he's going to try and go not only for 4th, but he's going to go for 3rd. Underneath Austin Ogo's machine, Zach Buchanan's coming here underneath Dylan Poteet for a spot inside the top 5. First caution of the day happening on lap 8. Ian Dutta here going to go way wide off of turn number 2. Gets hooked by Richard Johnson, collects Austin Ogo, does a little bit of a blow over there, almost ends up flipping completely over, and spins it down into the infield safer barrier. Austin Ogo spins it up into turn 3. Looks like he's able to keep it together though. Although I believe he does have a lot of tire wear there after that spin. Tires coming into play here. Ian Dutta still sitting there, possibly waiting to get a tow truck to pit road. Don't know how hard his hit was into the safer barrier. As the caution flag is out for the first time here today at Atlanta Motor Speedway, these drivers undoubtedly going to have to make some pit stops here because tire wear is definitely going to come into play in a track so fast and conditions so slick. Brandon Schmidt will lead them down here. And it looks like Poteet's coming in. Trek Togger, though, deciding to stay out. These drivers have only gone 9 laps on these tires. Togger apparently was conserving or something, and he's going to actually stay out and lead a lap, it looks like, get those extra bonus point. So as these drivers make their pit stops, looks like Stephen Pollard III made an early pit stop there in the 81 machine. Ogo on pit road as well. Let's look back at a replay of what exactly happened there out of 2. And we saw Ian Dutta earlier using a lot of equipment, it seemed, a lot of tire wear in making some strong moves down low. He may have actually had a tire going down or something here. You can see he's working the wheel, and the car's just going to get really tight on him coming off of 2. Goes up, he gets the outside safer barrier. Richard Johnson's up there. You see him turning down, trying to avoid. I'm not actually sure Richard made contact with the 16. Tell you the truth, I think Ian may have actually lost it on his own. But Austin Ogo, wrong place, wrong time, just barely gets clipped. And he goes sliding down into the infield, and Ian Dutta's car gets airborne there for a minute. Let's take a look at another camera angle, see if indeed there was any contact between the 93 and the 16. Now we're trying to look at it from a different camera angle here. Let's see if indeed Ian Dutta lost it all by himself. There he goes up and into the safer barrier. Watch the rear of his machine. Is there any contact? Oh, yeah, yep, there is. Yep. I thought maybe Richard did not make contact with the 16, but he did. Although it wasn't really anything that Richard Johnson could have done. I mean, he was stuck there on the high side, and there you can see 16 car gets a lot of air underneath it. Almost did a blow over there. That would have been crazy. Tough break for both Ian Dutta and Austin Ogo. Both were running up inside the top 5 for a while there at the beginning of this race. And Richard Johnson, don't know how bad the damage is on the driver who actually won this race last week during the High Grip Wreckers session, as he's trying to win it here in the TNR server. But that's what puts under the yellow. Let's go back for the restart now. So here we go, green flag ready to come back out. One driver has gone behind the wall as a result of this, and that's actually Ian Dutta. He's retired from the race. Don't know exactly why that is. His bumpers are not bumpers, but doors are banging there between Brandon Schmidt and Trek Togger. Togger gets moved way up the racetrack there. Schmidt will go to the point. Schmidt on fresher tires than the 60 machine is, remember that. As it's Dylan Pote, Zach Buchanan into second and third place. Austin Ogo is a lap down to the leaders, or at least 2 laps down. I'm not exactly sure how many. He's actually, he is currently 1 lap down to the leaders. We also have word that Charles Jackson in the 19 has fallen a lap down to the leaders as well. And Ian Dutta is out of the race at the current moment. As Schmidt holds the lead still, Poteet's second. Here's a good battle going on here for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Richard Johnson, Zach Buchanan. How about Dylan Young here in his debut race? Nice run right now for the 11 machine. And he's got Joey Murphy right behind him as well in the 20 car. Behind them, Trek Togger, Corey Williams, Seth Cole. They're back from, I believe that is 7th, 8th, and 9th. Joshua Collard, Luis Hernandez, Stephen Poe III, and the lap car of Austin Ogo all in a good tussle here as well. Good battling going on every part of the racetrack at the current moment. As Dylan Poteet seems content right now to run behind Brandon Schmidt. Kind of interesting, this top 3. Brandon Schmidt, last week's winner. Dylan Poteet, the points leader. And Richard Johnson, the driver who won the Atlanta race last week. He will get credited for that victory, regardless of what happens here in this race. And right now, he's trying to pick up his 2nd straight win if he can do so. But Brandon Schmidt, Dylan Poteet, and Richard Johnson have opened up a little bit of daylight now between themselves in a battle for 4th between Dylan Young and Joey Murphy. As there you see Dylan Poteet trying to test the waters a little bit higher, and Trek Togger gets the wall out of 2 back there. You're going to see that a lot today. A lot of drivers, when the tires wear down, they get tight off of 2, kind of what happened to Ian Dutta, and they go up and get that outside retaining wall. Dylan Poteet to the bottom, looking for the top position now off of Brandon Schmidt. Let's see if he can make it stick on the inside. Schmidt may have a problem. He moves way up the racetrack there in the 33 car. And Poteet goes to the lead. Dylan Young loses it up ahead of him and nearly collected Brandon Schmidt. Dylan Young got really tight off of 2. Nearly collected the 33. That was almost a caution flag, as Charles Jackson appears to be limping around the apron of the racetrack right now in that 19 machine. Buchanan now moves up to 3rd, and look who's up here now. Well, I thought I saw him moving up there. Corey Williams was up in 5th, and now he loses a spot. Now Dylan Young going to slide up into the wall again. That car has clearly got a right front going down, and he's just got to hope a caution comes out soon so he can get back to pit road. Right now, it's not looking good, though, for Dylan Young in that 11 car. Trouble breaking out on lap 20 of 82 right here. Brandon Schmidt appears to get a little tight. He gets up into Zach Buchanan. Buchanan gets turned up into the outside retaining wall. However, being a single car and him being able to keep it up against the safer barrier, they did not yet throw a caution flag. If 2 more cars end up spinning out, then there would be a caution flag, but at that point, it looks like Schmidt may have maybe overdriven that corner when he drove it into 1. Buchanan appeared to have given him plenty of room. Second incident would happen not too long after. Seth Cole there getting turned by Stephen Pollard III. Seth Cole was actually running to conserve some fuel and tires there, and Pollard was running all out, and those two strategies did not work together, so Seth Cole gets spun around there, and I believe Seth Cole actually, whoa, he almost brings it back up onto the racing surface. Seth Cole, I believe, now has a flat tire, and so that's two machines. If we end up having one more, we'll end up having some problems here as the leaders have gone on by. Dylan Poteet has gone by. Austin Ogo, the lap machine right up there, right behind Dylan Poteet. He's in 12th place, though, at the moment. Then Schmidt, as now Corey Williams gets the wall. He loses the 4th position to Luis Hernandez, who's been very quietly riding around, and as these drivers have encountered problems, he's been picking up positions. He's now up inside the top 5. And that caution would come out for a 3rd incident. This time Corey Williams appears to get a little bit tight coming off of 4, and he just gets punted there by the 20 of Joey Murphy. Spins it down the front straightaway. Everybody, I think, is able to avoid him. He noses it into the outside safer barrier there, heading into 1 as well. But everybody is able to get by, and that was enough to bring out our 2nd caution of the day. Corey Williams having difficulty getting that thing restarted there as he took a long slide down the front straightaway, undoubtedly flat spotted the tires and has to teleport to pit road. So everybody would come down pit road under that caution flag, get the fresh rubber after what would be our longest green flag run of the day so far. And several drivers who were caught a lap down would receive all of their laps back due to having tire issues that caused them to go a lap down, including Zach Buchanan, Austin Ogo, Seth Cole, and Corey Williams. As Dylan Poteet and Brandon Schmidt would get us back underway, Collard, Johnson, Ogo, and Dylan Young would be the top 6. Green flag would come back out here on lap 30 of 82, giving us a total of 53 laps to go here today at Atlanta. As we watch him go into 1, already 3 wide behind him, Dylan Young getting moved up there. Richard Johnson as well. Austin Ogo now up inside the top 5 and trying to get more as he gets his laps back after he ended up having that spin out there after contact with Ian Dutta. And there's Joey Murphy there. There is Seth Cole. Luis Hernandez, and Corey Williams is not there. We've actually just found out Corey Williams' engine expired when he got off of pit road under the pace lap. So a tough break for Corey. Boy, he's had a tough couple of weeks there in that 73 machine. Came away with that miraculous finish of 5th place at Daytona, or 4th place. It was a top 5, I remember that. But since then, things have just really been going south for that number 73 machine as he will join Ian Dutta apparently back in the garage area. As Brandon Schmidt, I don't know if he was trying the high line or if his car actually slid up there. Right now, he is trying to run down Dylan Poteet. Josh Collard, nice run right there for him. Whoa, Dylan Young gets the apron. Nearly shot up the track. So he's going to go 3 wide with Joshua Collard and Richard Johnson for 4th. Close quarter race in here. And oh boy, Dylan Young got tight off that corner again. Almost gets up into the 43. Richard Johnson, Zach Buchanan right behind this. And contact that time between the 11 and the 43. Dylan Young's car super tight. He's got to hold on to that thing. Man. Whoa, one car just blinked. That was Zach Buchanan, but now he's back. As we look further back here, there is Seth Cole. There's Luis Hernandez, who was actually up inside the top 4 a while ago. He's now way back here with Joey Murphy again. Apparently feels it's time to conserve once more, and there is Murphy. Charles Jackson several laps down there, struggling in the 12th position. As his car just glitched for a minute. Oh no, wait a minute. Something's happened here to Seth Cole. Something about him glitching, and he's gotten into Collard. He's glitched into Collard. Oh my goodness, Seth Cole, apparently some internet connection issues causing him to glitch, and he has glitched into the 43. Caution flag is going to wave for this. What a tough break for Josh Collard. And Seth Cole, apparently his tires have all gone down after his internet connection or something caused him to blink, and he blinked back inside the 43 of Joshua Collard. Oh, what a tough break for Josh. And the caution flag is going to wave. Schmidt, the leader. Ogo, 2nd. Poteet, 3rd. Johnson, 4th. And Buchanan in 5th place. But that's going to possibly be it for Joshua Collard and Seth Cole. two drivers running up inside the top 10 in the point stands, and Trek Togger nearly went a lap down there. Caution flag is waving as drivers now going to come down and make their pit stops. So after that incident that took place there, unfortunately we're not able to really go back and look at a replay of it due to the fact that I was the host of the race and the internet connection went down for that split second. But Joshua Collard has retired from the race, as has Seth Cole. Corey Williams also out along with Ian Dutta. Charles Jackson is still one lap down, but we have 10 drivers still on the lead lap. As after pit stops, Brandon Schmidt is the leader with Poteet, Ogo, Buchanan, Richard Johnson, and Dylan Young. Green flag back out. Oh, little trouble there in the start for Buchanan, and he gets hit by Dylan Young off of the Austin Ogo machine, and Zach Buchanan is flipping. Dylan Young has spun it. And I don't know what happened here, but oh, I think tempers are flaring. Buchanan's driving towards somebody. It's Pollard. Buchanan not happy with the 81 machine, and I don't know exactly what happened, but a caution flag's out here with trouble on the restart. And here you see what happens. Buchanan gets into the back of Poteet. Dylan Young gets into the back of Buchanan. They all just start stacking up. Buchanan then gets turned down into Ogo. His car going to spin sideways. Murphy bounces into Pollard, and Pollard T-bones the 4 of Zach Buchanan. And apparently Buchanan was not happy with that little ride that he received courtesy of the 81, and that's what he went back to voice his opinion on, apparently. There's Dylan Young, who I believe was the initial star of the incident. Ogo, who was run up inside the top 5, he gets spun out here on this restart, and we know Joey Murphy got a little piece of this too after I think he ran into the back of Richard Johnson. But a caution flag coming out immediately after we go back to green here on a restart. And here you see Zach Buchanan, the retaliation on Stephen Pollard III. Right there, going to hit him. And I believe Buchanan's actually now taking his car back behind the wall. Green flag about to come back out now as we are past the halfway point. Brandon Schmidt leads, Poteet second, Luis Hernandez third, Joey Murphy fourth, fifth Richard Johnson, sixth Austin Ogo, then it's Trek Togger, Stephen Pollard the third, Dylan Young, and then Charles Jackson, who I believe is still a lap down. Green flag back out. Zach Buchanan has indeed taken his car back behind the wall to join the likes of Joshua Collard, Seth Cole, Corey Williams, and Ian Dutta. Joey Murphy, we saw him make that contact with Corey Williams earlier on, but he's done a nice job of recovering. Up here now battling with Brandon Schmidt for the lead. Trying to, it looks like, get the outside line working, and he may get it to work off of 4. Nope, Schmidt has cleared him, and now he's got his hands full of the 25 of Luis Hernandez right behind him, and here comes Luis. Apparently now in the second half of the race, it's go time for the 25, as this is the highest up in the running order he has run all day. Schmidt, whoa, what is Schmidt doing? Wiggling back and forth there. I guess that's one way to block, but you don't want to lose your race car. And Austin Ogo, man, talk about battling back today. Gets involved in that one incident with Ian Dutta, falls a lap down, gets his lap back though, ends up getting involved in that restart pile-up just moments ago. But now he's up to third places. Whoa, they're close quarter battling back here. Richard Johnson, Stephen Pollard, and Dylan Young. And this is, I believe, the furthest back we've actually seen Dylan Poteet all day. Currently in 5th. He's now moving by Joey Murphy for 4th as Poteet may be in conservation mode right now in case this thing goes clean and green all the way to the end. But clean and green to the end was not meant to be, as this time Dylan Young gets tight off of 4, and he's going to collect, once again, the 2 of Austin Ogo. Just barely going to get by the 11 machine there that's spinning on the front straightaway. Stephen Pollard III just barely getting by as well, as Dylan Young brings his car to a halt, now refires it and continues on. Let's look at what happened there to the 11 machine. Oh, wow. Spins it around there. Apparently his tires have gone down. Now we've seen Dylan Young fighting a tight handling race car all day long. It seemed like turn 2 is where he was having the most difficulty, and right here, he's going to have trouble here in 4. His car clearly comes up. Ogo never came down, so that incident started by the 11 machine, and Ogo, man, he just doesn't seem to be able to catch a break here today. Now this time his car up and on his side and riding the safer barrier out of turn 4 and onto the front straightaway, as he almost got collected once again by the 11 machine. Nice avoidance there. And Dylan Young spins it down the front straightaway. That was enough for a caution. Green flag would come back out then on lap 53 of 82. Joey Murphy getting a good start there, sticking. Luis Hernandez in the middle and Austin Ogo on the high side, but Brandon Schmidt, Dylan Poteet, the guys who were 1-2 at the start of this race, now 1-2 again. They're 3 wide behind him. Ogo continuing to try and battle back here as he's got some rear end damage, but apparently looks to be somewhat up to speed. Murphy now going underneath him though for 3rd place. Luis Hernandez looking for 4th, and how about Stephen Pollard III? First time we've seen him up inside the top 6, I believe, as he's trying to get inside the top 5. Passing Austin Ogo, Dylan Young, Richard Johnson, both back here, along with Trek Togger. And I believe we've actually received word that Charles Jackson has retired from this event in the 19 machine. Dylan Poteet trying to make something work here against Brandon Schmidt. Schmidt throws the block on him. Poteet now drives it wide on the high side. Maybe thinking crossover move down here into 1. Schmidt guarding that inside line very strongly all the way down the front straightaway and now into 1 and 2. But Poteet's right there, and here comes the duo of Hernandez and Ogo there in 3rd and 4th. I think Poteet's trying to get something working on the high side here against Brandon Schmidt. Nothing working as of yet. Let's see if we can get a run on him coming out of 4. Watch Schmidt right down against the inside. Even here in the D-shaped front straightaway, he keeps it right down almost to the grass to hold off Dylan Poteet making advances. But wait a minute, Poteet had a hole there, and now Schmidt closes it up once again. And this brings a party right to their back bumper in the form of Hernandez, Ogo, and Richard Johnson right up here in the top 5. Top 5 are nose to tail coming out of turn 4. And problems would happen for Joey Murphy. Apparently a tire going down on his machine. He gets the wall, nearly gets collected by Trek Togger. Then watch right here as his car turns dead right into the safer barrier. Stephen Pollard doing everything he can in order to avoid. He just barely gets by. Almost came up and collected Joey. Then he almost comes down, collects Joey again. Those two, actually, this is back, I think, for the 8th position, but the 2 of them nearly wrecked twice. Or 3 times. It was 2 or 3 times they almost collected each other, but somehow, some way, they kept it together. Things would then really settle themselves out from everywhere except the lead. Dylan Poteet, determined to get the high side working against Brandon Schmidt. Keeps himself alongside, but just can't seem to draw even coming out of 2 or out of 4. And Dylan Poteet may be using up a lot more of his tires than Schmidt is, which could be a problem, as there was some kind of a weird glitch there again. I don't know why. So we can get past that. There we go. Schmidt trying to block Dylan Poteet. Poteet finally stops trying to use the high side and tucks back in line behind the 33. Ogo, what a day he has been having. How is he still in 3rd place? He has been involved in just about every incident we've had today, at least for the big wrecks, and still with a damaged race car and everything running in the 3rd position. Richard Johnson, our winner from the High Grip Records Atlanta race, running in 4th place here in the TNR Atlanta race and looking very strong. Luis Hernandez been keeping himself in this all day long, looking to come away with a solid top 5 run. Trek Togger back there in the 6th position. Dylan Young in his debut, great run in 7th. Joey Murphy back here in 8th place, and that is it for the drivers with the exception of Stephen Pollard III in 9th that are left on the racetrack. All 9 machines, I believe, are still on the lead lap. Everybody else has taken their cars back behind the wall after incidents we've had through this entire event. As Brandon Schmidt receiving 13 to go here as he hits the stripe. Dylan Poteet, I don't know if he's saving something or if he used up everything he had trying to get around Brandon Schmidt on the high side, but he's got to close that gap back up very soon here if he's going to battle Schmidt for the lead and the potential win. And with 5 laps to go, that's exactly what he's done. Dylan Poteet now closes the gap up by about 4 car lengths between himself and the Brandon Schmidt machine. Austin Ogo all by his lonesome in 3rd. Luis Hernandez has moved by Richard Johnson for 4th place now. Dylan Young, I believe, actually had to make a pit stop due to a tire going down, so he's actually a lap down in 7th. Murphy is now up into 5th place. Trek Togger in 6th, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe they've told me Richard Johnson actually had an engine expire on him here in the closing stages. Pollard there in 8th place. What a tough break there for Richard Johnson. And that is indeed the case. Johnson has taken his car back behind the wall. Engine problems plaguing the 93 machine as both Brandon Schmidt and Dylan Pote get the wall coming off 4 there. This could be interesting now. Apparently, they are having trouble with tire wear, and there's about 5 laps remaining in this event. Oh boy. This could come down to who has enough rubber to get them to the end. They can, I believe, make it on fuel, but the Goodyear Eagles is the big question. Pote nearly getting the apron there as he tries to cut that corner, and he's going to get the wall again off of 4. That time Schmidt did not. That's going to help Brandon Schmidt, as I believe someone just hit pit road. Trek Togger in the 60 hitting pit road. Tire problems plaguing him. So an engine problem for Richard Johnson, tire problem for Dylan Young, and now a tire problem for Trek Togger. As Stephen Pollard III is going to move out of the way for the leaders to go on by him. He'll now fall a lap down. If Trek Togger and Dylan Young ended up encountering problems with their tires in the closing stage of this race, can Brandon Schmidt and Dylan Pote make it on their Goodyear Eagles? Schmidt and Pote, they're the top 2, a long ways back to Austin Ogo, as we've only got, at the stripe, 2 laps remaining. Right now, it's looking like it's going to be just a 2-car battle for this win between Brandon Schmidt and Dylan Pote. Kind of ironic, because this is almost exactly like it was back at Las Vegas, except at the time, Anthony McCurry was also in the equation. McCurry not starting this race. As there are 2 laps to go, white flag next time around. Dylan Pote, if he's got anything left, he's got to make his moves now. Brandon Schmidt has been out in front for a majority of this last segment, and it's not looked like he's in any way wanting to give up this victory. Here we go. White flag display. Dylan Pote. Last opportunity. Can he close the gap up between himself and Brandon Schmidt? The gap remaining somewhere about 4 car lengths. Now cuts it down to about 3.5. Now 3 coming off of 2 as Pote tries to get a little bit better run off of 2. He's starting to close it up. He's going to probably make a huge move here into 3 and 4 if he can. Through turns 3 and 4, Pote right down the white line. He overdrove the corner, but that was all he could try and do. Brandon Schmidt hangs on. He'll pick up his 2nd straight victory. He wins here at Atlanta in race number 4. And Dylan Pote so close, and it looks like the 33 now has a right front down. As Pote gives his congratulations to Brandon Schmidt. Those 2 obviously were the 2 that were going to battle it out for the win from the get-go. 1st and 2nd place for a majority of this race for the both of them. And it came down to those 2 on the very last lap, and it was Schmidt being able to just barely hang on to pick up the victory. So Brandon Schmidt, what an unbelievable win for him here. His 2nd win of the season. In as many starts, too, if I'm not mistaken. So now Dunn LaPrad's a 2-time winner. Brandon Schmidt's a 2-time winner, as they've been the only 2 winners so far this season. And Joey Murphy running into the back of the 33. Not exactly sure what that was all about, but let's see if Brandon Schmidt has enough Goodyear rubber to get himself here to the start-finish line and actually do some burnouts. I don't know if he's got enough rubber to do it. Well, there you go. Apparently he does. As Brandon Schmidt does his burnouts here in front of the Atlanta fans, and actually looks like he may actually have just run out of tire rubber. Austin Ogo, Luis Hernandez there also bump drafting with him. Or not bump drafting, but burning out with him. And Joey Murphy in there as well. As you take a look at your official results here from today's event, Brandon Schmidt with the win, Pote in 2nd. Nice run for Austin Ogo, who had been through so much today. He's going to rally back for 3rd place. Luis Hernandez, quiet all day for the majority of this race. Comes away with a solid top 5 of 4th. And Joey Murphy hangs on for 5th place. Dylan Young, not too bad in his first start. Finishes 2 laps down, but gets 6th place today. Trek Togger in 7th. Stephen Pollard III finishes in 8th. All 3 of those cars, the 11, 60, and 81, plagued by tire problems in this last segment. Richard Johnson, tough break for him. Top 5 car all day, but that engine problem is going to have him out of the race in 9th. And 10th place was Charles Jackson, who also has retired out of the race. And the rest of these drivers also retired. 10th place, as we said, Jackson. 11th place was Zach Cannon. 12th, Joshua College. Seth Cole, 13th. 14th, Corey Williams. And Ian Dutta finished out of the race in the 15th position. But congratulations to Brandon Schmidt on his victory here today. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's race. Next week, they'll be heading to the first road course of the season at Infineon Raceway. You can check out the official NNSCRA Icebreakers online series website for all the results and points after this week's race, and we hope to see you guys next time here as we continue on the NNSCRA Icebreakers online series here on the NNSCRA Sports Channel.